Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. I thought I F7 was the reason my sister F16 got kicked out of the house. 14 comments. Share, save, hide, report. 99% upvoted. End of story. Next story. I saw two turtles having sex. They were on the street. Doggy style. Just going at it. There was a girl filming. And me chanting, "Hit that." It was absolutely amazing, and it's wrong to say it didn't make a little bit hard. Very awesome story from today right there. End of story. Next story. A true but scarring story. I had a primary school friend who slowly started talking less and less to me. He would still hang around but wouldn't talk nearly as much as usual. I thought it was just personality change. Until one day I asked for something. He passes it to me. And as he does, I see his sleeve pull back and there is a long cut there on his arm. I asked how he got it, but he quickly covered it up and moved away. I was small and didn't think much of it. He took on a more resigned, empty kind of personality. I started to worry about his mental health. This is in year 6 now. And I urge him to talk to someone, but he kept saying, "There's no point. We're walking home. And we come to a traffic light. The red man lights up. We stop. The cars start moving. But there is one Range Rover still catching up to the rest of the cars from a small distance away." My friend chose this moment to turn to me and say, "Don't blame yourself. You were a good friend." And he walked out onto the road in front of the Range Rover. Thank all things holy that his bag was still in reach and I managed to pull him back off the road. Turns out his stepdad had been mentally abusing him, calling him useless, beating him, etc. He now lives happily with his mum, who still thanks me when I see her for saving her son. Edit. Thank you everyone for the support. Means a lot. Have a great day. End of story. Next story. I got raped and no one cares and I just need to share it with someone. TW sexual assault. Okay, this is long and heavy and not good. But since the police will not acknowledge what happened, I need to. You can read it if you want, but I needed my truth to be heard or read or what have you. On Thursday, August 27th, my friends Tom and Johnny met me to eat chicken wings at a local bar, and Tom made friends with this guy. I didn't talk to Guy beyond, "Hey, how are you?" He seemed really nice though. Tom invited us all back to his house and Tom asked me to ride with Guy. Tom wasn't being intentionally negligent. He asked me because I knew where he lived and was really good at directions since Tom's phone had died and he couldn't remember his address. So we're driving and Guy pulled over to pee near the Universal Studios employee parking lot. When he got back in the car, he got in on the passenger side and got until of me and made me kiss him, and then he took my leg and pulled it over my head and forced himself inside of me. He kept saying, "Bet nobody treats you like this," and that he hoped my friends drove by. I just kept saying, "We have to go. You've got to stop. We have to go to Tom's house." So he finished and got on the driver's side and just asked me for directions like it didn't just happen. So when we got to Tom's apartment, I told Guy to find a parking spot while I run inside, and I ran to Tom's, and Johnny caught me and knew something was wrong, and I said I'd been raped. Johnny, Tom, and Dante took off after him, and Guy tried to run over Johnny. He's got wicked road rash. And hit a garage door and sped off into the night. Then Tom called the cops. The first 2 sets of cops that I talked to were really good, and then the sex crimes detectives just thought I was stupid. They were like, "Why didn't you call 911? Why didn't you say no? Why did you get in the car with him? Could you have made him think you wanted this? I could tell the whole time that they didn't believe me. At this point I'd recounted the story several times and had been up for over 24 hours. I didn't call the police because he was black and I didn't want him to get hurt, and I don't know. I didn't want something awful to happen, but I wanted him to be punished. I knew the whole time the sex crimes detectives didn't believe me, and now those suspicions are confirmed. I didn't want this. I didn't ask for this. I wouldn't have. Ever. I just was deluded into thinking that sex crimes detectives were supposed to be more sensitive and kind. But these women judged me the entire time, and I'm so crushed. Also, the minute I told them I was in an entertainment field and that I worked at a Twin Peaks, any credibility I had as a victim was out the door. I visibly watched them change from perceptive to standoffish. I texted Johnny and called him, hoping to leave a voicemail so he could hear what was happening. Without speaking, I accidentally called another friend. Johnny called and answered, so I had to ask him where they were as I was being raped. Trying to find out how soon they'd be here and if they were taking the road I was on. I ended up losing my job because of the trauma. The police dismissed the case, saying I wasn't credible enough. It hurts so much. I've reached out to victims' services and they won't respond. I'm helpless and sad and just so violated. End of story. Next story. My therapist thought a manga page was a coloring sheet. I was talking with my therapist on a Zoom call and I told her that I like an anime called Cells at work, so she searched it up and came across a picture from a page from the manga. She sent it to me thinking it was a coloring sheet. It was a funny experience and makes me laugh at times. The page was of a platelet. End of story. Next story. His autism was used as an excuse for his sexual assault. 65 comments. Share. Save. Hide. Report. 98% upvoted. End of story. Next story. My girlfriend went unconscious and vomited in my car. I joined this forum for the sole purpose to tell this story. So here we go. It's 7:45 p.m. and my family and girlfriend all went to an escape room to celebrate my girlfriend and Mom's birthday. Around 7:45 p.m. my girlfriend begins getting sharp pains in her sides and chest. At first I think it's just a rib out or something and we carry on. By 8:45 we're home and I am massaging her back, trying to relieve the pain in her chest as best I can. I'd like to note my girlfriend's pain tolerance is extremely high, but I could tell this was getting to her and that began raising some red flags. By 9:30 she is curled up in the fetal position on my couch, wrapped in a blanket and shaking. I knew she had to go to the emergency room, so I quickly grabbed her boots and put them on her and ran upstairs to grab a phone charger and jacket. By the time I got my shoes on and got to my Prius, she was already in the passenger seat, but the door was left open, and when I asked if she was able to close it, I got no response. I quickly ran around my car, closed the door, and took off for the hospital. At the end of my driveway she could not speak, and I went into "oh fuck" mode. About halfway there I look over at her and her eyes are closed and she is turned over on her side. I grabbed her shoulder and shook her and she began vomiting down her shirt and onto my passenger door. She did this 2 more times and she kept saying, "Oh no," and I could tell she was very afraid. I tried my best to assure her it was okay and that we're on our way to the emergency room. When we got to the awning for the emergency room, I threw it in park, ran inside for a wheelchair. And that grabbed security's attention. They took her to the bathroom and I ran back out to the car to get her phone. The wait time was going to be like an hour, but she was swaying back and forth in and out of consciousness, so I knew I had to be persistent and pretty much an awful patient so she could get the attention she desperately needed. I knocked on the door twice and called until they were finally like, "Whatever, come back." As soon as we got into the back room, my girlfriend's head began to tilt to the side. She slid down into her wheelchair and was unresponsive. She was out again. She got her blood drawn and was given an IV and was given a chest X-ray. I'll update with what the doctors say. These events unfolded within the last 5 hours. Update. Edit. Still haven't heard from the doctors, but she is doing better than last night. Her chest and abdomen are just very tender. Hurts to cough. Deep breathe. It should also be known she has fainted quite a few times before and the doctors cannot figure out what is wrong. The last time she fainted she was 16. That was 3 years ago. End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.